Good morning, families. I'm Stu Malcolm, the assistant head of the middle school. Would you please join me in standing and welcoming the class of 2022.
Please be seated. Parents, grandparents, colleagues, family, and friends, let me begin by asking you, doesn't the class just look unbelievable? Wow. I have to say, if we didn't think that the daily dry cleaning bill would be too high, we would contemplate making it our dress code. How many people would like that, by the way? It's split. It's okay. Before you is our class of 2022, an incredibly gifted and talented group of 8th graders. In the course of their time here, anywhere from 1 to 10 years, they've worked hard, they've grown tremendously, and they've made a remarkable difference, not just in their own lives, but in many other people's lives and in this community. We have no doubt that as we celebrate their 8th grade graduation today, that they're more than ready to meet the challenges in upper school. It's with that in mind that I ask you to join me in giving the class of 2022 its first round of applause of the day. Of course, we know that we wouldn't be here without the hard work of a lot of people. With that in mind, the first group of people I'd like to thank are, of course, parents and family members. And I'm going to ask our class to please give all of them a round of applause. And I want to take a moment to thank our incredible middle school faculty for its commitment, its hard work, and its belief in each and every one of the students in a really special way. With that in mind, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge 4 of our middle school faculty members, if they're here, to acknowledge their contributions and to celebrate them as they move on from Shipley. The first person I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge is our 8th grade language arts teacher, really committed and talented individual, Alex Cannell, who will be leaving us, and I'm happy to say will be getting married this weekend. Alex, would you come forward for one moment? I don't know if she's here, but one of our middle school science teachers who's moving on to graduate school next year has just done extraordinary work. Is Tess here? Yes, she is. Tess, please come this way. One of the most gifted educators I've come across in my 40 years of education. During her years here, this upper and now middle school math teacher and dean has defined what great education is all about, both in terms of what she does with her students, but also in the way she lives her life. Could I ask Lauren Vines to please come forward? And the final member of our middle school faculty who will be moving on, and I want to thank her for her remarkable commitment throughout the entire school. One of the great gifts for us has been having the opportunity to see her grow as an educator and have her help us grow over the past 18 years. Extraordinarily committed individual and the parent of one of our alums. If I can call upon Ms. Bowe. And of course, within the realm of the middle school, we would be remiss not to take a moment to thank the leadership of the middle school for its extraordinary work. And it's with that in mind that I ask Annie, Stu, and Shane if they'd be willing to come forward for 1 minute. You getting any further? Can you do me a favor while he's here? He's a new grandparent. Would you give him a round of applause? And Dr. Kins. Thanks. I can't tell you how incredibly heartwarming it is to stand here with, of course, all of the people who have made a difference, but most importantly, with this wonderful group of 8th graders. As I look at them, I think of them not necessarily as 8th graders, but from the time that they entered the school. As I already mentioned, some of them entered as early as pre-K and some this year. Their growth, determination, and commitment have allowed all of them, not just to become better students, but more importantly, to develop the skills and become the people necessary to meet the challenges they're going to face, both at the high school level and beyond. It's a group that's made us proud in terms of its accomplishments in the classroom, on the stage, on the field, in the computer room, and everywhere else. They are a group that I am sure have made you, as family members, incredibly proud. It's with that in mind that I ask you to join me in congratulating them one more time as I welcome you to the exercises for this class. And now it's my privilege to call upon Dr. Kinsella.
Good morning, everyone. Before I share a few words of advice for the class, I would like to take a moment to thank the 8th grade parent coordinators. They've done a tremendous job over the course of this year, and the party last night, for anyone who was able to see it or was there, was really just an example of all the tremendous, outstanding work you've done for us. We really appreciate it. So please, can we give a round of applause to the parent coordinators? Jackie Sims, who as the lead parent coordinator has really marshaled the troops and got everyone together. So I think the cake last night was a testament to the coordination between different people, and if you saw it on the middle school Instagram account, it was a gator and it was superb. So thank you all. One more set of thank yous before we go into my little talk. But I would like to thank the teachers, not just the 8th grade teachers who were up here and the advisors, but the 2 sets of teachers who are sitting on the front rows here. Some have gone on since 7th and 6th grade, but we talked about this at assembly yesterday. The teachers do a tremendous job every single day working with your children. And when I started in education, there was no email, there was no giving out your cell phones, giving out your private phones. When you left at 4 o'clock in the end of the day, you were not in communication with your students. Teaching has become a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job at this point in time, and those teachers do a tremendous job helping out on a daily basis, and even through breaks and long weekends. So can you all give them a round of applause as well, please? So, 20 years ago today, and that does sound like a little bit of a novel, but I'm not a writer. 20 years ago today, I proceeded out of my first 8th grade graduation as a teacher in America. It's kind of strange to do that. But as I was marching down the center aisle of a sort of a building just like this, I turned to the teacher who was standing beside me. And I said, just kind of casually as we were marching down, it's like, how long have you been at this school? It was my first year. He turned to me and said, 27 years. And I was like, okay. I looked at him in shock. And as we walked down the steps of the church where it was, I said, if I am still here in 27 years, something has gone terribly wrong.
Please be careful what you say.
That's true. You see, my plan was to come to America, stay for a year or 2, and then travel around the world and ultimately end up back in home in Ireland and manage my family business. Every summer I'd gone home from England when I worked there to work for the summer and then come back to teach. So I have to confess, things have gone terribly wrong. My wife wouldn't like me to say that, but not in the way that I had planned. So you might think as a class, what does this all have to do with you? If you think about it, you're about to walk out of here at the end of your first 8th grade graduation, and your last, I will warn you, and you probably have some very fixed ideas about what you're going to do in the next few weeks, in the next few months, but probably more significantly, in the next few years. I will say, I know pretty much everybody's going to Hershey Park tomorrow. I will also say nobody's getting into the swimming pool. We had to talk about that yesterday. But beyond Hershey and tomorrow, you have some ideas. In talking with your teachers from the following and following your progress over the last 3 years, it's clear you are a class that enjoys discussing poetry and plays, solving equations, and solving scientific problems. If you got to see the Mars project, you would really understand that. Learning languages, debating the finer points of revolutions in government, and perhaps the finer points of school discipline, dress code, backpacks, earphones, lots of different things, sneakers. All of these skills will stand to you in the years to come. Some of you perhaps have already decided you're going to be doctors, or engineers, writers, artists, musicians, basketball players, video game designers. I don't know if playing Fortnite will qualify as a profession when you graduate from upper school. If it does, many of you have put in a lot of work already, and your parents could probably attest to the phone bills. But in all these cases, what I want you to do in the months and years ahead is keep an open mind. We do not possess a crystal ball to see into the future. If we did, I would not have believed my life would be based here and not in Ireland. But it is, and I'm super happy that it is. Just if you want to report that back to my wife. We're very happy. So you've heard Ms. Griffin and Mr. Balzer and your teachers all talk about the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset this year. It's one of the core elements of positive education. Keeping an open mind will allow you to see the potential paths you can take in upper school and beyond. You may decide to play a sport you never considered. I've never done crew, but I'd be fascinated to get into a boat, so I encourage you perhaps to try this. Or take a course that you currently seem to be put off by. You might find a passion that right now you do not know even exists. For many who move on to upper school, one of the areas that our teachers hear about when they come back to visit is that they step forward and try out for one of the many plays that take place in the upper school. And that's something we're going to encourage them to do. Another path where people take a risk is being involved in student government. And again, I encourage you all as the years go by to do that. So I say to you, keep an open mind. Your future path is undetermined. And you get to choose it. Congratulations. It is now my pleasure to call on Ivan Benkowski, middle school president, who's going to share a few words with the class and you all. Ivan.
Good morning, Shipley. I'm Ivan Benkowski, president of the middle school. It's great to see everyone here on this wonderful day as we depart into the upper school. I'd like to give a thanks to all our families for making sure that we look our best today, for driving us to all of our sports practices, band practices, play rehearsals, and any other after-school activities we're involved in. And I'd also like to thank you for making an extra trip back to school when we forget our phones, books, or sports gear. I would also like to thank the teachers for all they have to put up with through the year. They deal with our teenage moods and our stubbornness, but they know us, and they push us to be the better versions of ourselves, and that is something I love. At my previous school, I didn't get anywhere near the support I received here at Shipley. Also, another thing I'm thankful for here at Shipley are the lunches here. I would like to give a huge shout out to Sage Dining. They're always keeping us well fed and giving us that break that sometimes we just need, whether it be having taken a test in the morning or studying math and English. One of my favorite parts of the school year was playing sports for Shipley. Opened my eyes to new beginnings and new people. This being my first year here, playing sports allowed me to make new friends and improve my skills. Other great experiences were our field trips to Philadelphia, where I was able to experience feeling a way I never have before. These trips were my first time seeing the city up close, and it was great having them with my classmates. We pushed ourselves through difficult academic work, but we're all here now, aren't we? We made it. We pushed through algebra, the French Revolution, Romeo and Juliet, and all the science projects. We all should be proud of how far we came as students, but even more proud of how we came as people. We are one step closer to the real world. You may not realize it now, but all the pushing by our teachers encouraged us to achieve goals we didn't realize were possible. Going on to the upper school as freshmen, we need to stick together. We need to use each other for help and know that we can rely on one another. Upper school might come easily for others, but for some it could be challenging. And we need to help each other out during this time. And I know some of us are nervous about next year. And let's take the skills we developed here in the middle school and relax and realize we will be successful. I'm here today not saying goodbye, but see you soon. I want everybody to do one thing this summer. Put your phone down for a while. Enjoy the air, the people around you. Go jump in a creek. Have something fun. Hang with friends. Most importantly, have fun and be safe. Again, it has been an amazing first year, and I can't thank everyone enough, especially to all the amazing parents out there, and especially my own. Good luck to everybody, and congratulations on becoming ninth graders.
Will my advisory please stand? Michael Benjamin Barron. Michael. Michael, we recognize your amazing mnemonic devices. Your peers and teachers marvel at your creativity and brilliance. We thank you for your dedication to your studies that shows up in great questions, high achievement, and your brilliant lefty drives to the hoop. Sydney Elizabeth Brayman. Sydney, we recognize you for all the time and effort you put into your studies, where you demonstrate leadership in and out of the classroom with your fantastic work habits. We thank you for sharing your gift of squash with us this year for both the varsity and middle school programs. Sarah Ann Kaplan. Sarah, we recognize you for diligence as a student who always put forth her best effort in academics and through volunteering your time to collect for the Narberth Food Bank. We thank you for your amazing contributions to the varsity and middle school squash teams. We know how much time it took. Carter Jacqueline Field. Carter, we recognize you for your love of swimming and the passion you bring to the pool and your dedication to your studies. We thank you for your commitment to our SHARE service group by your great work ethic and willingness to help in whatever way is needed. Hannah Fisher. Hannah, we recognize you for being a proactive student. You are dedicated to doing your best work and you care deeply about your performance. We thank you for your superior commitment to horses, both in your eventing horse competitions and in your Thorncroft Equestrian Service Group. Jalen A. Hollis. Jalen, we recognize you for leadership that you display in your academic classes, particularly in history and English. We thank you for your willingness to participate in classes and express your opinion and your desire to regularly work on your basketball skills. Ava Morgan Horowitz. Ava, we recognize you for your supreme dedication to soccer, for the middle school, the JV, and your travel team. We thank you for bringing your sly sense of humor, love of learning, and work ethic to your classes every day. Your teachers really saw your impact on our school. Asher Morgan Levy. Asher, we recognize you for your commitment to squash as a high-level ranked player and a member for our middle school team. We thank you for your desire and commitment to your studies. Your teachers were impressed with your efforts, which will lead you to attain your high academic goals in the upper school. James Joseph Lennart. Jamie, we recognize you for your dedication to soccer, both for Shipley and Nether Providence, and are excited to see how well you play for the upper school. We thank you for your work ethic and leadership that you display in all your classes. Your teachers and classmates appreciate your efforts. Sabrina Scartapane. Sabrina, we recognize you for your skills and leadership as our field hockey goalie for the middle school team and as an attacker for the lacrosse team. We thank you for your jovial spirit that you bring to school and the dedication you brought to your Spanish videos. Samuel Toludo. Sam, we recognize you for your love of all things basketball and the amazing height of your parabolic three-point shot. We thank you for joining our community in such a seamless way while always being eager to learn and help your classmates. Clara Deming. Clara, we recognize you for your diligent efforts in your academic classes, particularly in French. We thank you for brightening our school with your positive energy after joining our community this year. It seems like you've been a Shipley student for many years.